Just watching and seeing her today.
Peterson, the lift.
All the rhinestones, all the costumes she's attracted to. It's like a little Disney child, yet, I don't know, it's like a shield or a cover. She's probably one of the most intelligent people you'll ever meet. She's extremely brilliant. And the mask is sometimes putting up the stupid persona or the voice. I just want to know where it stems from.
Well, she wants to be unconscious, and no bloody wonder. She was protected her whole life. She's so damn naive that her first love affair just about kills her. She wants to go to sleep and never wake up. And so
it was just such a change from like 13 to 15.
And they don't want anything to happen to this child because, like, hey, it's a miracle. And there's only one of them. And so, and she's the princess. And so it's like, we're not letting anything around her. So they have.
I wasn't allowed to go out or go on dates or school dances because my parents were so strict.
No dating, no makeup, no this, no that. Everyone had late curfews. No, you had to be home early. No, 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 no. And then finally, she was just like, doing what I want.
That's an Oedipal story, right? The Oedipal mother is the mother who devours her child by refusing, by overprotecting him or her, so that instead of being strengthened by an encounter with the terrible world, they're weakened by too much protection, and then when they're let out into the world, they cannot live. And that's the story of Sleeping Beauty.
In New York, 14, 15, 16, everything that I didn't want her to do, she wanted to do.
And if you want your child to be unconscious, well, then you have the added advantage that maybe they won't leave home.
Getting into modeling, and I was just like, no, 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 no. Not a good scene.
I always loved Patricia Field and Betsy Johnson. It was kind of like this whole fashion dream world for me. The pink hair and glitter and the shortest little skirts. That's how I was dressing.
Well, and then of course you can take revenge on them if they do have any what would you call impetus towards courage that you sacrificed yourself 30 years ago and want to stamp out as soon as you see it develop in your child. That's another thing that would be quite pleasant.
She'd buy wigs, necklaces that said sexy, hot bitch. What? I'm thinking, no, this is too much for me. This is crazy. Finally, I locked her in the room.
And Maleficent is the terrible mother. She's nature. She's like the thing that goes bump in the night. She's the devil herself, so to speak. She's everything that you don't want your child to encounter. So the king and queen.
I was afraid she could run into a predator, get kidnapped. Fear, to me, is the most powerful feeling there is.
Apologize to Maleficent when she first shows up. And say, well, you know, they have a bunch of half-witted excuses why they don't invite her. We forgot. It's like, I don't think so. You know, you don't forget something like that. And she kind of makes that point. It's right, the whole horror of life. You don't forget about that when you have a child, that's for sure. You might wish that it would stay at bay, but you do not forget about it. The question is, do you invite it to the party? And the answer is, it bloody well depends how unconscious you want your child to be.
Fear. More than pain, more than love, more than hate, more than like, more than fear.
And so you can take advantage of them for the rest of your sad life instead of going off to find something to do for yourself.
And I thought, this was the worst mistake ever moving here. I gotta get her out of here.
So Sleeping Beauty, she's naive as hell. They put her out in the forest and have her raised by these three like goody two-shoes fairies that are also completely devoid of any real potency and power, right? There's nothing maleficent about them.
I was just a kid living in New York, going to high school. Obviously ditching a lot of class, whatever, but I I feel like my parents were scared and they didn't want their reputations to be ruined, because Page Six was writing all these stories. So I felt like I was just kind of just sent away to be hidden.
And so that's what happens in Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, well, none of this is pleasant, and nothing that happens in that story is pleasant, right? They try to get rid of all the spinning wheels. They try to get rid of all the wheels of fate with their pointed end. But she finds it, pricks her fingers and falls down unconscious. So that's exactly what happens. And then she has to wait for the prince to come and rescue her. Well, but the prince also represents the woman's own consciousness. The consciousness is presented very frequently in stories as symbolically masculine, as it is with the logos idea. And the idea is that without that forward-going, courageous consciousness, a woman herself will drift into unconsciousness and terror. And so you can read it as, well, the woman who's sleeping needs a man to wake her up. And of course, just like a man needs a woman to wake him up, it's the same damn thing. That's the dragon fight in Sleeping Beauty. But it's also the case that if she's only unconscious, all she can do is lay there and sleep, like the sleep of the naive and damned. She has to wake herself up and bring her own consciousness, her own masculine consciousness into the forefront so that she can survive in the world.